Alright, guys, so we are moving on to our first story, which is not just about Nintendo Labo. It's not just about Nintendo Labo VR, which we talked about in the last episode of Matt Rants. Oh, no, 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 no. Nintendo Labo version of VR is coming to two of your potentially favorite games. What games are they? Well, if you didn't know already, Super Mario Odyssey, but also Breath of the Wild. That's right, we are getting Super Mario Odyssey, and Breath of the Wild free, by the way, which is also awesome to note as well. Free VR, not updates for the entire game, of course, but from the looks of the Mario one, just a free mission. And I say just, but I got to admit, I'm really happy about this, simply due to the fact that it's free. That's the first thing. So if you don't like it, it's free. It's considered from the looks of it, it looks like it's a DLC update. So if it's a DLC update, that also means that it won't be part of your 100%. I mean, I don't have Switch DLC, but if it's like PS4 DLC, then you should be in a situation, at least I'm assuming anyway, where like the PS4 DLC, you have your 100%, separately, like your main story 100%, and then the DLC 100%. So I would hope that it doesn't affect people's 100% if that's something that they're really passionate about. Me, I don't care about 100%ing a game because there's no way I can do it when it comes to things like online stuff. So I've gotten to the point where, looking at some of my older games, like PS3 games, stuff like that, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to 100% it. I don't care. But if you do, then I understand where you're coming from. You wouldn't want this to affect it. Now, we should also talk about some release date stuff as well. So apparently, these VR updates won't be released until April 25th. So even though we're a little late on some of this news, we are ahead of the curve in that regard. And when looking at the link that I've posted, you can see that apparently, so just to promote this up, the Japanese Super Mario Odyssey Twitter released a new batch of screenshots, and it's very interesting. So apparently, there is there are pictures of Mario at the camp, seaside, and luncheon kingdoms, along with a close-up of the mayor of New Donk City, Pauline. So, Pauline, oh god, just my New York comes out. It's Pauline from Canarsie. So this new update, like I mentioned earlier, it's going to add 3 new missions. So it's not as if you're going to be able to play the whole game in VR, but it is adding these 3 new missions where you collect coins and musical notes. So that sounds fun. And potentially it looks like, this is speculation in the article itself, that the latest tweets and screenshots also suggest you'll be tasked with gathering up musical instruments and then delivering them to characters in the game, and a musical performance will be viewable in VR in New Donk City as well. So we don't know too much about the Breath of the Wild stuff so far. Again, just got this info on Mario Odyssey VR. We knew about both for a little bit now, but thankfully this last bit just came a few days ago, so that's why I was like, you know what, let me not just talk about this, but also update you guys on what we're hearing so far as well. And honestly, while I don't have Nintendo Labo VR, and I don't have Nintendo Labo in general, and I'm not saying that I'm against getting it, I'm just really worried about breaking it because, yes, it is cardboard. It's stronger, I'm sure, than just, normal cardboard that you can just get at, get at the store, but I just feel like I'm going to break it, I'm going to screw up, and I'd rather not spend that much money to screw up. Yes, we have DG tutorials on our Those Guys Play YouTube channel, so yes, I do fix things, I can have a steady hand when needed, but I don't know, I don't want to spend that much money and then have the potential of something breaking due to me. But when it comes to Nintendo Labo's VR, I also think that it's just not for me at this point. Maybe in the future, if it goes down a little bit in price, I'll potentially look into it. But what does matter is that I think this is a very good way of trying to test the waters and introduce VR to a Nintendo Switch. Because if you just give them away for free, right? Don't say, hey, you have to pay for any of this. You already paid for the game, and you already paid for Nintendo Labo. It's specifically this, VR expansion. So it's like, hey, you know what? If you want it, you can get it for free, or if you don't, then you just don't get it, right? And you got your full game when you bought it. I don't believe that Nintendo had the VR in mind when they first created Mario Odyssey. Maybe a little hint of it, but I don't think that they actually sat there and really planned this out. this much. Now, I'm not saying that this is coming out completely out of nowhere, right? But I don't know if, like, they probably had planned Labo and thought, oh, if Labo does well, maybe we'll dip into VR. Heck, if VR is still a thing, maybe we'll dip into VR. Because of course, this is following what Sony has been doing recently with VR, and of course other companies coming into this and trying to promote VR gaming. Also, that's another thing too. By the way, I'm not exactly interested in VR gaming as much as some of you guys might be, and the reason why is because I have to do some more research on this, but I heard that there was some issues with potentially people who have glasses like me might have some issues with it, and also the fact that it might damage your eyesight in the future. Again, I do need to do some more research on that before just saying it outright, but these are some of the things that I've heard and some concerns that I have with VR personally. But I think that, if there are people who don't have problems with those concerns, or again, maybe they have been unfounded and tests and studies have been done since me hearing about this last, and VR is, 100% safe, I would say that I think this is a nice way to, get people in. Like I mentioned earlier, just you do it for free. You don't make it seem like it's a required part of the experience, and it doesn't feel like you've given less of the game just because there's a VR component to it now. So I think that's cool. I think it'll be very interesting to see what will be going on with Breath of the Wild VR, because, I mean, you can be riding on horses. Like, it's funny, I've played a few minutes of Mario Odyssey. I have it, though, so I probably should play it. I don't have Breath of the Wild, but I've seen a friend play it, and she found, like, some ancient being in the mountains or something, and it was gorgeous. So I'm wondering what you're going to be able to do in VR there, and potentially on horseback. That, nothing against Mario VR, but I think Breath of the Wild has the ability to make some really weird, interesting stuff in VR, and I can't wait to see what that's going to be in the future. And as we're wrapping this story up, I want to say, what do you guys think about all this? So, are you interested in Mario Odyssey VR? Are you not that interested? Are you more intrigued, like I am a little bit, with the Breath of the Wild VR? Or either way, are you just not really interested in either VR scene? Are you not interested in the VR scene overall, and maybe you're not really picking up the Nintendo Labo VR? So tell me what you guys think about all of this stuff down either in the chat if you're watching this live through our Twitch, or in the YouTube comment section down below.